Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for attending today's meeting. I know it was a little crazy because we had that evacuation drill. So for now, if I could just have everyone sign up. Today we are going to be doing team check-ins, and we're also going to be talking about the board elections that are be coming up sometime in a few weeks.
Starting today.
Starting today. All right.
Yeah, okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give you all a couple more seconds to sign in. Remember, every sign-in sheet you fill out, your name gets added to the end of the month raffle. So you might want to go ahead and fill that out.
Gambling.
Yes. Okay, I think everybody's done scanning. Does anybody still need it? Okay, I'll just go ahead and move on. So here's like the game plan for today. We're gonna start off with a few announcements. Then I'm gonna go into the overview of the process of like how our board applications are gonna work. And then once I'm done with that, we're gonna move onto the team check-ins. Okay, so some announcements before we start. As usual, help support the club. It's $15 for the semester. If you want to become a VIP member, you get various benefits such as like discounts on merchandise like stoles or like the keychains and pins or like the sticker sheets. We're planning on giving out goodie bags at the end of the year banquet to our VIP members. And you also get like priority for events. If we ever have events with like limited signups, then VIP members get priority with those. And as usual, if you haven't already, here's like the form to become a member and sign up for a VIP membership. Just a reminder, even if you don't plan on becoming a VIP member, you still have to fill out the form. There's like an option for like the general membership. So I don't see anybody scanning, so I'll probably just go ahead and move on. Oh, and good news, we now are accepting order for our stoles. So if you're a graduating senior or if you're somebody who graduated like last semester in December 2023, and if you would like a stole, a Game Dev Club stole, then you can go ahead and start ordering those. We sent out the form a couple days ago, and we're planning on giving out our stoles during our end of the semester banquet, which is set tentatively on a Saturday, May 4th. I know we normally like to try and have them on Fridays, but all of the rooms on Fridays were booked, so we just couldn't do that this time. And the price for the stoles is $25 for general members and then $15 for VIP members. And if you want to order one, then go ahead, please do so by this Friday, March 15th. And that's what the stole looks like. And then here's the order form for the stole in case any of you need to scan it. All right, I think we're good. And we also have our video editing workshop for this week. It's more so like a competition than a workshop. It's going to be completely asynchronous, and I don't know if you all saw the announcement that our video editor sent out a few days ago. This is all being led by our video editor, by the way, if you couldn't tell. This is your chance to get like hands-on experience in video editing. He released like a video for you to edit, and then you can submit your edited version of it and get a chance to win some cool prizes. If you want to know more details, you can go ahead and scroll up to look at the past announcement or check out our club's YouTube channel. He posted a video explaining it. And because it's asynchronous, we're not going to have any sort of meeting or workshops this Friday. And Solomon, are you here? Is there anything else that you would like to add, or did that cover everything?
I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, if you want more info, then go ahead and check out the YouTube video. Okay, any questions before we move on? All right, so now I'm just going to talk about the board applications. Applications for our e-board positions are opening up starting today. And before I go ahead and explain any of the positions, I just want to give you all an overview of like how we're going to be handling things this year with our board applications. So we're going to have 8 positions in total that will open up, but only half of them will open up today, and the other half will open up in 2 weeks. And I'll explain why we're doing that later. So there's going to be 4 positions opening up today, and the 4 positions that will be available starting today are president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. And these 4 positions will be following a presentation/election process where they have to give a presentation next Tuesday explaining their candidacy to like the club, and then all the you general members are able to vote for who you'd like to see elected as the board positions. And then starting 2 weeks from now, we're gonna open up the remaining 4 positions, and those are PR director, historian, video editor, and webmaster. And rather than a presentation and election process, these 4 are gonna be going through an interview process where those newly elected president, treasurer, secretary, and vice president, those people are gonna be interviewing the other 4 positions. So this way, this allows the newly elected board members they have the freedom to choose who they're gonna be working with next year. So that's kind of like why we're separating them, if that makes sense. Any questions? Okay, if there's no questions, I'm gonna just keep going. And now I'm gonna start talking about some of the general requirements if you want to run for a board position. So this year, any general member is able to run for a position. If you were here last year, you might remember that we had a requirement that you had to be a VIP member in order to run for a board position. But we decided to remove that this year, so all of you members are able to run if you'd like. But we are keeping the requirement that if you do become a board member, you have to become a VIP member next year, like during your term as a board member, because it'd be kind of weird if you're a board member and you're not even a VIP member. So yeah, and you must be enrolled for the entirety of the 24 to 25 school year if you want to run for board. And for the treasurer and secretary, you need at least a 2.0 GPA. And then for president, you need at least a 3.0 GPA. And any questions about the requirements? Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about like the board duties of the actual like positions. Today I'm just gonna be going over the 4 that's opening up today, and then if you're interested in like the other 4 positions, we're gonna be explaining those 2 weeks from now once they actually open up. So just stay tuned for that if you're more interested in those positions. But for now, just sit tight, and I'm just gonna be explaining these 4. So first off, I want to talk about like the shared responsibilities that every board member has, regardless of their position. On top of like their position-specific duties, they also have these shared responsibilities. Of course, assisting in the planning of organization of events, like coming up with new ideas for meetings or workshops and things like that. And also like, for example, if we have a social event like at round 1 or like the banquet, that's definitely way too much for one person to handle and plan and get all the materials themselves. So we collectively as a board work together to help out in those kinds of things. Hosting workshops and meetings as well. As I mentioned, our board members, we have them come up with any ideas that they want to do for like a workshop or like a meeting, and then we go ahead and implement those into our schedule. And then also just attending meetings, of course, and then any school event that us as a club are required to attend. For example, like club fair. Usually we get an email saying that they want us to attend, so then some of our board members go out and table for the club fair. Same thing for like science carnivals or just any other various tabling events. So yeah, that's kind of like what every board member is expected to be doing. And now I'm going to start off by explaining the secretary. You can think of the secretary as like the club's scheduler. They're the one responsible for like booking all of our rooms and making sure like we have all the materials we need for like our meetings and stuff. For example, like Rob, our scheduler, if it weren't for him, then we wouldn't be standing here in Building 8, Room 4 right now. He's the one who books this room for us. He's also the one who books our workshop rooms and all of like our banquet rooms. So that's one of the main duties of the secretary. On top of that, they're also responsible for writing and sending the weekly newsletters / announcements. I don't know how many of you look at your emails or pay attention, but every week we send out like a newsletter, which kind of just gives like a rundown of what we're doing for that week. I think right now it's actually only sent to CS majors, so if you're not a CS major, then you probably haven't seen it. But yeah, the secretary is responsible for writing those, and as well as like the weekly announcement that we like to send at the beginning of the week on Discord. And then communicating with like higher organizations to ensure that our events go smoothly. That's another thing that the secretary does. For example, let's say the secretary books a room in like the BSC for us to use for an event. If we get approved for that room, ASI actually doesn't give us anything except for that empty room, like no tables, no chairs or anything, which is obviously really bad. So the secretary is the one responsible for communicating with them and actually asking them for like the materials that we need, you know, our necessities, because that's pretty important. And then on top of that, the secretary is also responsible for just working closely with the historian, just to like keep a record of all our club activities, because we are kind of like required to do that. And yeah, any questions about the secretary role? Okay. And then next up, we have the treasurer, and I used to be the club's treasurer, so I can speak about this kind of a lot. So the treasurer is responsible for handling all of the club's financial responsibilities. You know, like treasurer budgets everything, allocates some of our budget for like these things, like social events. We allocate some of it for like prizes or like board retreats or things like that. And we also, the treasurer also keeps track of like how much we're spending, making sure we're not overspending on one thing or like underspending anywhere. And then they also ensure that like all of the board members are reimbursed for any purchases for the club. Like, for example, if we buy like pizza for like a social event, we obviously don't want that coming out of just our personal bank accounts. So then the treasurer is responsible for making sure they get reimbursed for that money and that the money comes out of our club's budget rather than our own personal funds. And then as well, on top of that, the treasurer is responsible for collecting all of like the VIP membership fees and any sort of payments like for stalls or merchandise. So the treasurer goes ahead and collects those. And then also the treasurer is responsible for determining the club's budget for the next year. So that's something that me and Josh actually did just like recently. We like opened up a spreadsheet. We're gonna submit that. That's why he's at the science council meeting right now, because there's a budget meeting right now. So that's why he's not here. And yeah, any questions about the treasurer?
You seem to be forgetting that last point right there.
I don't know what you're talking about.
How much funds have been embezzled so far?
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, next up, Vice President. Did you want to talk about it, or do you want me to explain?
So basically, the way that VP is selected is, you'll notice that when we open up the elections, you'll see that the positions that are open are president, secretary, and treasurer. There actually isn't a specific way to run just for vice president. So whoever is the runner-up to the president will be decided as the vice president. So if I'm being really honest, there isn't actually a like official vice president role or like list of roles, but the main vice president role is to really assist anywhere they can on the board. So if they need to help with the treasurer in regards of budgeting, or if they need to help with the scheduler, or especially like helping the president with any other like general like board activities, that's what the vice president is there to do. They're kind of like a jack of all trades. It's helpful for me because I've been president, treasurer, and like webmaster and like all these other things in the previous year, so it does help. But vice president is a really good role to basically get your hands-on experience in like every other aspect of like the board and everything. Did you want to talk more about that too?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Sam pretty much covered everything, but like she said, it's like a really flexible role. It's kind of hard to pinpoint and list out exactly what the vice president's responsibilities are. It's kind of just more so dependent on how the president and vice president for that year decide to organize things, and then the vice president gets tasks like from there. Yeah, it's more so just like picking up any leftover tasks that need to be done, or anything that the president can't handle, they maybe would give it off to like the vice president instead. And as she mentioned, you can't run for it specifically. It's just going to be the runner-up of the president. So yeah, any questions about the vice president? Okay.
I do want to say, like, just because you're vice president doesn't mean like you have less responsibilities than anyone else. If anything, you have to always be on top of what the tasks of the other board members are doing, so that you could help out wherever you can and assist where you can. Vice president, if we're being specific, the vice president really has similar roles to the president, especially when the president can't be available, or if the vice president needs to take over for any other duties. So we're not like downplaying anyone who becomes vice president.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely still like not a small role or anything like that. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and move on if that's everything. Yeah. All right, next up, we have the president, which is my role. So like, where do I even begin? The president is responsible for like the club's entire vision or like aesthetic, or working towards the overall goal. Like in our case, it's teaching everyone about game development. Like that sense of community. The president it's up to them to decide how like the whole vibe of the club pretty much. Do they want it to be like casual, more formal, things like that? They have complete freedom over how the club operates, and they can honestly just change anything they want. They're responsible for the overall club management and planning out like all of the club activities. Like for example, I remember during summer when I became president, before the semester even started, like school year even started, I did a lot of planning and like meetings with the rest of my board members, pretty much just like planning out every single week of what we want to do that week, any ideas that we have for meetings or workshops, having like a list of tasks that I then like delegate out to my board members, things like that. So yeah, the president is responsible for delegating tasks, facilitating teamwork, and ensuring that deadlines are met. And another important thing that the president does is register the entire club as an official university organization. I mean, that's important. We wouldn't officially be a club if the president didn't do that. So that's one thing that the president does. What else? Yeah, I think pretty much, I think you all get the gist of it. Oh yeah, they also communicate with like other organizations and like guest speakers. For example, I like talk to other clubs on campus sometimes, and we might plan some collaboration events. And then I would also reach out to guest speakers and have them come and speak with us, like what we did for like Obsidian and other events like that. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to be completely honest. It is a big responsibility, but it's definitely a really rewarding experience, in my opinion. I'm not going to lie, like there were times where I did feel like kind of overwhelmed with my work, but over time I started getting more and more used to it, and I got used to like assigning tasks to everybody instead of just trying to do everything myself. So things have chilled out a lot. And yeah, it's mainly just like depending on how you decide to run the club. Like again, you have complete freedom. Back in summer, I literally could have like removed the game pitches if I wanted to do that for some reason. So like the president has that power to do that. And yeah, big responsibility, but really rewarding. Like at the end of the banquet last semester, it was really nice to like see everybody having fun and just knowing that like I was the one who helped to organize pretty much all of it. So definitely a really good experience, not just like to have on your resume, but just like personally also. Yeah, any questions about the president? Okay. Okay, next I want to talk about why do you even want to be on board? So first off, it's a great opportunity to branch out and make some new friends. For me personally, back in my freshman year, I had like 0 friends. I never made like a single friend until I actually joined this club. And then that's when I started like bonding with people who are kind of like-minded like me. And then I didn't start making closer friends until I actually went up and became a board member as the Science Council representative. So yeah, it's definitely a really good experience. I'm not just saying that as a president, I'm saying that as like another student who went through pretty much like the same thing you guys are doing. I definitely don't regret becoming a board member at all. And it's also a great opportunity to gain some leadership experience, see how a club is run behind the scenes, and also have something to put on your resume. Yeah, outside of like just branching out and making new friends, it's just a good experience overall. I think being a board member has taught me how to be a lot more responsible and on top of my work. And of course, it was really, really great to put on my resume. It's something that catches the eye of, I think, a lot of companies, in my opinion, if you have some sort of leadership position, especially if you're applying for like internships and things like that. And it gives you a lot to talk about during interviews. Like I remember I had one interview for an internship position, and it wasn't even game dev related, but the interviewer was just really interested in hearing about my experiences as president and like my motivation, why I'm doing these things, what I'm doing, things like that. And I ended up like passing that interview really well, just solely just talking about my presidency pretty much for the entire 30 minutes. So yeah, definitely a great thing to have. And it's a good opportunity to give back to the community, right? Like part of why I'm doing all this is because this club is like what gave me my friend group back when I was like just a shy, scared little freshman. So it's nice to give back to the community and be the one kind of fostering that environment for everybody else as well. And then on top of that, outside of all that sentimental stuff, board members also just get a free custom stole when graduating, which is really cool. But yeah. Okay, before we move on, any questions about any of that? Okay, so now I'm just gonna talk about like the speech and election process. So next Tuesday, March 19th. Our general meeting, same room on Discord, all that. It's going to be the meeting where the candidates who signed up for one of the 4 board positions, they're going to be giving their speeches. And then the rest of you members can come and watch and decide who you want as your candidates. So they'll be giving their presentations, and more details on what you want to include in those presentations are going to be included in the actual application form. So if you're interested and you want to apply, you might want to read through that just so you know what you want to include in your presentation. You know, it's a lot of stuff like why do you want to be a board member, why are you qualified, things like that. And then candidates are highly encouraged to attend in person for sure. And if you really, really can't attend in person, then you have to turn on your camera for the Discord people. And then also we really highly encourage you, if you plan on coming and doing a speech, to please dress in semi-formal attire. That's just what we've been doing like as a tradition every single year. So as I mentioned before, Cal Poly Pomona does have like a clothes closet that where you can like go and borrow some semi-formal clothing if you might not have any. And yeah, I mean that's good. I mean you're always dripped out. Like I think that's good.
Does dressing like a king work as well? That's technically formal, right?
Yeah, I mean I'm not gonna stop you. So if you want to do that, go ahead. But yeah, and then so the presentations are expected to be 3 to 6 minutes long about their candidacy. And something important to note, you're allowed to run for more than one board position. Like if you can't decide, don't worry, you can just apply to like all of them if you want. And the speech will count for all of the positions you're applying to. So if you're applying for multiple ones, you don't need to give like multiple different speeches. You can just like do one general speech for all of them. And please be mindful of the time for other candidates. And you're allowed to make slides. In fact, I think it'd be better if you make some slides and then send it to us. And then you can also bring flashcards as well. And then, of course, those who aren't running will get to vote for their desired candidates next week. Any questions? Okay. And if you're interested in becoming a board member, here is the QR code this is just for the 4 positions that are opening today. We'll also be sending this out as a link on Discord as well. So in case you miss it here, it's no big deal. All right, I think we're good. And just as a final reminder, the rest of the 4 positions, historian, PR director, webmaster, and video editor, they're gonna be opening up 2 weeks from now, and they'll be going through an interview process instead of a presentation. So if you don't like presentations, then you might wanna do that instead. Or maybe you run for a board position right now and you don't get one of the 4. Maybe you can then later apply for the other 4 positions instead. But yeah, I think that pretty much concludes everything. If you have any questions, well, does anyone have any questions right now? Okay. If you ever think of any questions or you just want to hear more about the experiences of being a board member, feel free to reach out to any of us current board members. We'd be happy to talk to you about our duties and what it's like to be a board member. And yeah, don't be shy. And I think that pretty much concludes everything. I kind of went on for a lot longer than I was expecting. But let's move on to what a lot of you guys are here for, the team check-ins. And we're just gonna go ahead and get started with a Romans Requiem.
Can you guys see the stream okay? All right. Just let me know when I need to change slides.
All right. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, cool. Sorry if there's any background noise. There's like a chainsaw or something. I don't know. Anyways, good afternoon. Today I'll be doing a brief overview of what we've been working on these past few weeks in the Romans Requiem team. So let's get started. Next slide. So here we just have some basic concept art. Here on the left, we actually have our main antagonist, the evil queen of Italy. She's like a brutal warlord who commands a huge army that's invading Rome. And speaking of her army, on the right here, we have like a basic Italian foot soldier. You'll notice a green color scheme, which is a pattern among that kind of enemy, which just kind of is to show that they're evil and Italian. So yeah, next slide. Here we have more concept art. It's supposed to be depictions of what we want to show in our narrative during the game. So these 2 characters on the left, we haven't really talked about them. But if you know anything about the Roman Empire, they might be familiar faces. And on the right, we have kind of a cutscene, a depiction of the cutscene that we want to show in the game, where it's basically our main character discovering like this legendary sword of the spirit, which is part of like the armor of God, which is pretty cool. So yeah, next slide. So here we have sprites. Of course, on the left we have two really beautiful, detailed portrait sprites. Of course, we have our main character, and then our second one, it's a character we can't quite talk about just yet. It's you know, if you're a Christianity fan, you might have something to look forward there. And of course, we have some cool swords. The blue one's actually the sword of the spirit that I just spoke about. And on the right, we have a sprite sheet for our main character doing various actions. It's not complete, but that's what we got for now. Next slide. So here we have some sprites, but they're more work in progress than the other ones. Here we have a totally custom tile set that we made for the game. You can see it in the engine on the right. That's like a screenshot we took, so that'll give you like a general idea of what the game's art style is going to look like. Then we have like a little guy up there. He's just kind of like a placeholder, but he's a representation of like the green foot soldier that I was talking about before. All right, so next slide. So here we just have like a sequence of videos that just kind of show off what we've been working on. So you can play the video. This one's literally just to show that we got him moving. It's not anything crazy. But I will note that at the time of recording these videos, we hadn't implemented the tile set yet, so we just kind of used the placeholder. Anyways, this is kind of a long video. You can just skip it. It's just moving around. So this next one shows off the enemy AI. I'll just let it speak.
How did the Roman Empire ultimately fall? Did it meet an enemy too powerful to fend off? Was it undone by an internal conflict? Or did it simply stretch itself too thin? The answer is in any of the videos. The empire's downfall happened over hundreds of years. To find the truth.
So yeah, that's kind of like a loose interpretation of what the game will be like when the enemies are going after you. So next slide, please.
Oh wait, no.
And then this last one, you can just play it. It's basically to show like pretty much everything here. Like a very simple version of what our combat is going to look like. So we have like the sword as a placeholder for an enemy. You won't actually be in the final game because it's a sword. And then you'll also notice that we have like a working health system. Whenever he gets touched by the sword, he loses health, and I think he dies at the end there. So that's unfortunate. Anyways, I think next slide. That's all we have for today.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Heathen. Is it in the Discord chat for you?
Yeah, it's in the Discord chat.
All right, there we go.
A pretty decent amount of work I've done so far. Juniper has been popping off for the programming. These three clips over here are all like work on the state machines.
Should I play them?
Yeah, go ahead. You can skip through them. This is just basically walking, falling. You can see a little, I don't know if you can read it from there, but you can see how it's transitioning from one state to another. The next video, I believe this one's showing the dodge mechanic. And everything is also connected to the animation controller, so it's going to be a lot easier to work with the frame related stuff once we get to actually animating the character. And I believe the next one shows the whole parry into block state. So once things get animated, we could flesh this out further and actually bring in some gameplay to test it out. Other than that, I don't know the real name of this person, but the Discord user is Sofa. They've been doing an incredible job doing some concept art for all the enemies. So here's some of the knights, and they also did a bunch of weapons at the end.
Okay.
And aside from that, we got dev textures finished for the development for the state machines, like I mentioned, concept art. Work got distributed a little bit better among the members. I'm learning to manage that a little bit better. And Lou and I have been working on the lore to give us more direction for both the members and ourselves, because even though the idea was to make a pretty basic MVP with just gameplay, the vibes are pretty important for this game, so that's guiding us along as we go. And by extension, the name John Heathen is no more. We actually gave the character a name. I believe his name is Ajar Faith, which later gets changed into Diol. And yeah, unfortunately, John Heathen will be missed. But that's about it for our current development so far.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Masquerade.
Yeah, so like,
Go ahead. Sorry.
so I mean, it's basically just been me still. I kind of forgot about this again until like Sunday when we were reminded that we have to actually have something. So I managed to pretty much scramble this together in like 2 days. It's just basic movement and like sprinting and jumping, which yeah. And then also, I'd actually made this a while ago. This is just like a sort of test theme that I'm gonna like expand on later on, but it's just sort of just there to like explain like or like demonstrate the ambience that I'm trying to go for. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully next check-in I'll actually have something cool.
Is there anyone else? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a few more.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot more.
I don't know why, but earlier it only said, okay, popcorn tea. Let me pull it up. Is it starting from here or is that, oh, that's the old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Starting from,
Very clear.
okay.
Okay, so we had voice auditions, and so all the voices are decided for all the characters. So we got that down. We didn't really do much since, but we got a little bit of programming, started writing, and some art pieces. So that's a poster art made for that character, and then if you go down, it's another one. That's a work in progress, not done yet. And that's his CG that's made. Oh, that's really dark. I need to fix that. Okay, but yeah, that's what we have so far. And yeah, that's it. Okay.
It's really hard to see, but it's really creepy.
Yeah, thank you.
Machine Citadel. I'm assuming it's this one? All right, let me switch. Change windows. This one? There we go. All right. So let me know when to change.
Just kind of click through it at like a medium piece of it. So we had some artwork done for our main objective. As you can see, we asked for some help in the channel, and Solomon was nice enough to help. So that's going to be our main objective for now. Go on.
Is there still? Whoa.
I downloaded a nice free model from the internet and decided to make that fit for my 3 weapon types. So I've got pistol, long pistol that shoots very fast, and shotgun pistol. Go on. And then for the actual art, we have Joe making more of like kind of environment concept arts for like these are like little thumbnails for what kind of like ideas we want to put into the environment.
Oh, transitions.
Ah, you went too fast.
Oh, sorry.
We have some guns concept art. This is for the pistol that we're gonna have that we kind of nicknamed Bad Robot. We're gonna have that little edge, and then we're going to click again. And we're already ready for DLC, so we're gonna have nice weapon skins. GDC limited time skin, $200. And don't worry, you can't actually buy that. You're gonna have to roll about 500 times. So, go on. Here's some actual 3D concept art from Hosh. He was nice enough to kind of put it together. You can, like, I have a lot of transitions, so just so you know.
Oh.
And he likes to do his little 3D renders, so you can kind of see how the materials look. We already have a version after this, but we're still kind of working on how we want that to fit. Go on. So this is the part that's probably gonna break your computer. We've been kind of working on it, I think, at a good pace. I think the GIF broke.
Yeah, I think it did.
So our current method for programming is making sure that we commit to GitHub every 20 minutes, so we look like we're really working when we're just messing about. Want to click again? Most of our time has been spent hacking the GDC server. So.
Ooh, that looks good.
And Loris Ipsum. Loris Ipsum. Go on. I think we, yep, no. These are just some of the template slides.
Okay.
Always watching. Bunnies are always watching. All right,
Okay.
that's it.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Frontline Tactics.
Nice. All right, that's a basic UI we have right there for performing actions for our combat system. If you were to scroll up though, we do have concept art by Enzo.
Enzo.
Yeah, this is the general character or generic character we have that we will plan on like modifying, but it will show off like what the characters should be, what they should be wearing, what kind of uniform they have. And kind of like it tells you like what kind of like environment they live in. And we do have a complete sprite sheet right above that. It's kind of hard to see though, but. And then for programming related stuff, I kind of forgot to record some things though, but we have like a very placeholder like basic movement going on where you just point and click to a tile, it'll move you to that tile. And then we're just on the track to like starting to implement a bunch of like mechanics for the actual combat itself. We just have bits and pieces that we need to bring together, and that should be it.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Love Bomb Planetary Pursuits, whatever the game is called. So for our team update, we actually just had a team meeting, I think on Friday. So we haven't really gotten much done besides that. But we do have like a little snippet. I forgot to send it, so I'll just send it here. We do have like a little snippet of a piece that our one composer, Adrian, wrote, but it's pretty good. I guess for as far as like updates go, I won't play the whole thing. Oh wait, I realized people on Discord can't hear it, but trust me, it sounds really good. So I guess we decided that Jupiter is going to be the next planet that we're going to be implementing, and the writers are going to be meeting up at some time to like kind of finalize what the personality and what the story beats will be, and then the artists will be working on the concept art. But that's really it for Planetary Pursuits. Next up, Diode, Redode.
Hello.
Let me pull it up. Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you could just play the video while I'm talking. It doesn't have any audio. As for our team, we had our first meeting and sort of delegated out tasks. Of course, everyone is sort of busy with their own stuff. It happens, so there hasn't been much progress. But if you think the game looks cool, you're still free to join at any time. As for the game, you probably saw now, I re-implemented the breakable blocks and the colored ladders, and also like throwing the objects downward has now there's states for the object, so it can detect if it's been thrown downward, so that can do stuff like you could break the blocks or press buttons. There's also those moving platforms that you could sort of draw with any path and sort of change the way that they move. You could see the one on the left there is like a really messed up like racetrack thing that I just tested. And then also, June implemented a new level progression system, so it can actually like keep track of what levels you've completed and stuff. However, there's still only like 2 levels in the game, so there's not really much to progress through right now. But yeah, that's basically it so far.
All right, thank you. Next up is Escargot. Let's see. That's
Hello.
from last
Yeah,
time.
we're gonna keep it short. We have a lot of stuff, but
I'm assuming
we'll try to
it's-
keep it short in terms of time because I know the meeting's come to an end here. Scroll up a little bit more.
Oh, a little bit more. Let's.
Yeah, so that video. Basically, we got the multiplayer working in our game, so now you can join, and it's online multiplayer, so I'm recording it on my computer, but it would work across computers. And we have the basics of the level, so yeah. You can go ahead and play that song right there too, just a few seconds of it. This is our amazing composer, Charlie, making a song. We don't know what we're gonna use this yet for, but yeah. And then we have Brandon who finished the art. And Nathan, do you want to talk about the art?
Yeah, so this is kind of the cafe where the customers will show up, and then the door in the back is where you enter to start cooking. Brandon's adding a little bit of an outline using like a flipped normal exterior to the model. So that's how we get those little outlines, which is pretty sweet. We have little designs for the first, well, this is one of the different desserts we might have. There's a whole sheet of them, but I forgot to include it. We have some walkie animations. This one's kind of a groovy little, that's more of a joke one, but the one on the right is actually the real one that we'll end up using. Then we got our little customers. We have the little wads that are above their heads, and those will follow your screen position no matter what, which is pretty cool. This was our first iteration of the environment using more cool colors. Right now, we're trying out different things. So this is a cool environment one, and then the next video shows the more warm palette, what that might look like. So, trying to decide which ones to use. These are some of the turnaround sheets we got for the 3 characters that we have designed so far. So this is the first one, Dulce. Then we have the next one, which is Kara, the Turkish one, and then we have one more, which is Bruce, which is more of a Scottish character. Then we also have a little emote animation of a wave. So yeah, that's about all we want to showcase for now.
All right, thank you so much. Next up, we have Vertex. How far should I scroll here? Today. All right, and yesterday. All right, cool.
Okay. We haven't gotten too much done, but we have another meeting kind of discussed on like what we're all planning to do next. So we have some like modular buildings, so they're kind of like building pieces. So like if we want to make new buildings, we don't have to like completely model them from scratch. We just kind of like build them together like Legos. And then those are 2 on the back right there. That like 2 test buildings. So we can start making environments. Oh, also there's no video because I don't want to repeat it last time. But we do have a status system in, so like it'll kind of grade, it'll give you a grade from like F to S, of like your performance in the game, like how good you're attacking. And then yeah, we also have the sword model, that's the 3D model. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we did the cat removal, so it's officially there. And there's some characters that are going to be in the story, and they're going to have sprites with them that we're currently working on. Sophia also did these like concept arts. You can see more like, you know. Well, I did that, but yeah, just character sketches. And these are Sophia's sketches, Dragon Lady, and some Japanese poses. So yeah.
I will be hearing no one else.
Okay. All right, thank you. And I think the last one that we have is Ball Buster.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do it super quick. Josh isn't here. Did you want to speak on Josh's behalf?
So, the notes disappeared because I started playing the game. So, basically for Ball Busters, the work that Josh has done so far, because as far as I'm aware, only him and a couple other people put in work for this. We added a parry mechanic. So when you push B or spacebar or shift, B on the controller or spacebar shift on the keyboard, it will play a little like parry animation, and you'll knock balls back. Like that you hit. Josh found an old song on his laptop. It's very nice and silly. I don't know what else to say about it. He added a lot of interesting sound effects, and I hear more come because some people post them in Discord. And spawn points are now random, so you don't just all spawn in the center. So if you both die at the same time, you just like spawn in the middle and like get knocked out. And colors are now random. Bug with the parry system, if you parry repeatedly because there's no cooldown, you will launch each other off into the stratosphere. Alright, now for the game. You're gonna make me play mouse and keyboard? I'm gonna lose.
I don't remember which one I Oh, I'm the wrong person. Looking at the wrong thing.
Can I keep it like
Should we actually try?
Yeah.
I think I've run out of USB
Oh yeah,
ports.
there's no more USB ports.
Alright. That's enough. Alright. So, thank you so much. We'll be cutting this off now since some people have to go to class, but thank you so much for attending the meeting. Remember, all of the links and everything, any information that was said in this video will be posted later on. But yeah, thank you so much. Everyone, have a great day.